My name is Kerry Holloway, and the title of this presentation is Guns Do Not Kill People, People Kill People. For many years, people believe that if guns are taken away, violence will come to an end. Their theory is that if the government takes away all the guns, then people will be safer because all the violence will come to an end. However, over the last few years, statistics have proven this theory wrong. Statistics say that allowing the public to carry guns, in fact, does not increase gun violence, but instead does the exact opposite. It decreases it. 98% of the time that a gun is used, it is used in self-defense, meaning not a single shot is fired. Guns are used for safety. Taking that away would make the world a scarier place for many individuals to live. It would take away their sense of security. Felons are 60% less likely to commit a crime if they feel that they will need to use their weapon during the crime. When interviewed, 3 out of 5 felons say that had they known their victim was armed prior to committing the felony, they would never have entered. Concealed carry permits are extremely important. Obtaining concealed carry permits allows civilians to defend themselves appropriately. Concealed carry permits also protect where the law enforcement cannot. According to the Wall Street Journal, the average police response to an emergency call is 11 minutes. Guns also prevent an estimated 2.5 million crimes per year. If you average that out, that's 6,849 crimes every day. Most often, the gun is never even fired during these altercations. To add to that, in 1982, Kennesaw, Georgia passed a law requiring heads of household to keep at least one firearm in their house. The residential burglary rate dropped 89% the following year. Take Great Britain, for example. They have extremely strict gun control laws. In Great Britain, 59% of the burglaries are called hot burglaries, meaning that they are armed, an armed robbery. By contrast, the U.S., with more lenient gun laws, has a hot burglary rate of only 13%. Where would people feel safer? Britain or Kennesaw, Georgia? I'd say in Georgia. Where are criminals more likely to break in? Britain or Kennesaw, Georgia? The answer would be Britain. Why? Because criminals in Britain do not fear encountering an armed victim. Truth is, 57% of felons polled agree criminals are more worried about meeting an armed victim than they are about running into the police. Only 0.7% of convicts bought their firearms at gun shows. 39.2% obtained them from illegal street dealers. This goes back to prove the point that if the government takes the guns, they will not be taking all of the guns, considering that 39.2%, nearly 40%, are obtained illegally. Like the old saying, where there's a will, there's a way. Criminals who want a weapon bad enough will find a way to get one in their hands. Quite honestly, gun control does nothing but make civilians more vulnerable. The background checks should be enforced upon purchase of guns, and they should be forced in order to keep firearms out of the hands of children, convicted felons, and the mentally ill. Children have not been trained appropriately to carry guns. The mentally ill are not deemed qualified in a lot of cases due to possible mental incompetence, and then convicts, they've proven to society that they are not trustworthy with or without a gun in their hands. In conclusion, whether it be for hunting, sport, collection, or protection, guns do not cause violence. People who handle them do. This is like thinking that it's a knife's fault that someone cut their hand. The knife cannot cut them on its own. Someone must first pick up the knife and begin to use it in order to cut themselves. My recommendation is that each household, head of household or individual who wishes to better protect themselves or gain a better sense of security, they should first and foremost, learn how to use a gun properly, learn how to unload, load, and discharge firearms. Um, it's very beneficial for them to take a course with a trained professional. In times such as these, with the virus going around, the New York Times states people are nervous that there's a certain amount of civil disorder that might come in huge numbers. People that are sick, and huge numbers of institutions are not operating normally. According to Timothy Litton, a law professor at the Georgia State University, they may have anxiety about protecting themselves if the organs of the state are starting to erode. The civil unrest that could unravel gives a lot of people fear of not knowing. Therefore, firearm sales in the month of March 2020 almost eclipsed 2 million guns purchased during the month of March. This is the second highest gun purchase in the last 10 years. The other was in 2013, where it was right at 2 million, with 1.9 being purchased in March of 2020. The recommendation is that people who purchase guns go through a concealed carry or CWP class in order to obtain their license to carry and protect themselves, not only on their own property at home, but out in public as well. Not only does it give you the license to carry a gun, but it trains you, as I mentioned, the proper way to load, unload, and discharge firearms. I think that's a very important technique and safety measures for everyone to learn regarding proper gun safety. Again, in conclusion, I think that gun control will only hinder the safety and security that Americans feel. I think that the Second Amendment is very important, and everybody should be allowed to obtain guns in a very direct and comprehensive manner, including background checks and medical history checks, providing the guns don't fall into the wrong hands. Thanks.